Tonight was tournament number 8. Unfortunately, I couldn't get my capture card set up, so I don't have any videos from the night. Next time I'm at the downtown Grand Casino, I'll show up early and sort things out a little better. It was my first time there as a competitor, and I didn't really want to be a pain in the ass and get an extra power supply run. Anyway, a lot of things were brought up by this tournament. I'm just going to unpack a few of them tonight, and then I'll probably do another video on this in a couple days, because I think there are some important lessons here, at least for a newcomer to esports or a newcomer to Smash Brothers. Time is number 1. After the tournament tonight, I was speaking to a friend who I hadn't seen in about 5 weeks, which is about the same amount of time I've been playing Smash Brothers competitively. He asked about the amount of time that I was dedicating in my journey to esports, and I said it was a ton. Hours and hours and hours every day playing, watching, studying my mistakes, trying to learn new characters, editing video, writing blogs, etc. He asked a really important question, which is, what am I giving up? And I thought about it. I said a lot. And I think this is one of the biggest issues in esports, and one that doesn't get represented in the media, is it's the amount of time that is required to get good at a game. A competitive game is astronomical. And you compound that with a late entry, and you're looking at a ridiculous amount of time put in to actually become a competent player. But when you tell someone this, sometimes they laugh it off and say it's just playing a game. But it's not. It's not the same. My approach to Smash Brothers competition is not the same as my approach would be to casually playing Smash. I would not be spending hours, days, weeks learning characters, learning moves, trying to, become great at my own play. I wouldn't be watching my own mistakes. I wouldn't care. I'd just be out there having fun and without any goal, without any drive. And yes, I still am having fun playing Smash, but there's a focused drive here behind it. It's like frame data. If you were going to be playing casually, would you be trying to understand frame data and how it relates to gameplay? I wouldn't be practicing my combos every day, trying to commit them to muscle memory so I don't even have to think about them when it happens in the game or when the situation arises in the game. I wouldn't be willing to sacrifice thousands of hours over the next year, not only to learn the game of Smash Brothers 4, but to become a competitive player. The difference between casual and competitive play is vast. Imagine if I told you to go play basketball with a group of elementary school kids. Then I told you to go play basketball with a bunch of NBA players. Yes, they're both playing basketball, but in no way is the game the same. The depth of understanding, the physicality, the mental fortitude, the analysis at both levels is completely and utterly different. Back to the topic of time spent. What am I sacrificing? I don't have time to play any other games. I don't have time to watch movies or TV. I haven't read a book or played a board game in months. But most importantly, I'm away from my family a lot. Tournaments are most often at night or on weekends, and they typically last a minimum of 4 hours, with an hour or so of friendlies before the tournament. You add in travel time, and you're looking at 6 or 7 hours. And that's 3 to 4 days a week. And when I'm not at tournaments, I'm researching, practicing, or writing about the game. There's a lot of time away, and a hell of a lot of time spent learning just, quote, a game. Number 2, mental fortitude. Playing anything is draining. It can be physically or mentally or both. And yes, even in esports, there's physical fatigue. Hands cramp up, tendons get messed up, twitch reflexes slow down with age, and being at a tournament for 6 or 7 hours, or 6 to 8 hours, or 10 hours even, can be tiring. But it's the mental exhaustion that's the real killer with esports. And I'm specifically talking about Smash Brothers 4 here, but this relates to all esports. But in Smash, at the highest level, every action you make in the game can be met and countered in 3 different ways. Every move. So you are constantly taking into account map selection, your playstyle, your opponent's playstyle, your character moves, your opponent's character moves, all while trying to bait or condition your opponent to do something that is advantageous to you and disadvantageous to them. These decisions are made in milliseconds, hundreds if not thousands of them every single game. It's a constant stream of data, prediction, action, data, prediction, action, over and over and over again throughout the entire night. Add in the desire, frustration, successes, and failures, and you begin to see how mentally exhausting it can be to play competitively. Topic 3 is frustration, and this directly applies to winning and losing. Not getting better at the game or anything like that. This is solely with winning and losing because it's kind of all compounded here. In all honesty, I don't know what winning inside a tournament feels like. I've had a ton of experience losing though. And losing is a tricky thing. You have to have a Jedi-like mindset and approach the game in order to overcome it. You have to learn from your mistakes. You have to be patient. You have to be willing to push through your losses in order to gain something of paramount importance: knowledge. Because knowledge leads to confidence, and confidence leads to winning. Now here's the rub. When you start playing against good players and get bodied, you don't feel too bad. There's an understanding that it's going to happen, that it's almost supposed to happen. A lot, in fact. But as you start to improve and you get closer and closer to winning, there is an unforeseen frustration component that gets added to your mental game. Because now, the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know anything. But on the flip side of that is you start to spot opponents who you should be able to match up against or who you should even be able to beat. Now, when that happens and you lose, you not only have to feel the loss as usual, but you feel that frustration. The frustration because it was a match that you could have won. And that frustration factor compounds everything else that is going on in the tournament. And I think it's quite possibly the most difficult thing to overcome. Now, this is where I was tonight. I played against 3 opponents. One of them completely annihilated me. He was beyond my skill level, knowledge level, and experience level. I felt no shame in losing to him. The other losses on the night to the other 2 guys stung. In those sets, I had a chance. Each game came down to 1 stock, with both of us being over 110% damage. It was down to 1 mistake from either of us. Now, this is where my skill level, knowledge, and lack of experience, and therefore my lack of confidence, showed. At times in those matches, I found myself saying, I can win this. I can get my first win. And then I lost it. Now, I'm not sure if it was nerves or if it was just I lost a bit of focus or if it was just as simple as I messed up and they punished me. Because that's what happened. Ultimately, it came down to the wire with both of us just waiting for the other person to make a mistake. In the end, it was me. And I think that once I get the win monkey off my back, I'll be a better player. Because I'll have confidence in my play, the knowledge that, yes, I can win against these players who are better than I am. Now, I've spoken about this many times before, but character knowledge is one of my biggest gaps. And I'm going to explain why. Now, I think this is the next thing that needs to be remedied. Gloomy recommended that I should just hop on and grind out For Glory, playing random characters. If I combine that with competitive guides and For Glory videos from top players, I should be able to get a base level of character knowledge for all 58 characters. That's a lot though. 58 characters. That means I have to know their base moves, strategies, punishable areas, weaknesses, strengths, and general spacing. Now, if you think about how much time I spent on Bowser this week, which was about 8 hours, and multiply that by 57 characters, excluding Cloud because Cloud's my main and I do training on him regardless, I'm looking at 456 hours just to get a handle on the competitive basics of all characters in the game. That's right, 456 hours to just scratch the surface of my competition. If I spent 4 hours a day just doing that, it would take me 114 days to accomplish. That's not even taking into account frame data, kill percentages, moves per weight per character, or advanced player combos. Now this loops back to number 1, time. This is why it's easier for a younger person to get sponsored and to get better at these games, because they don't require a lot of money. They don't have families in a lot of cases. So it's easier to dedicate that time. This is why Smash is a fantastic game though, is that it's easy to learn, but difficult to master. Even if you didn't spend the 456 odd hours, you could pick it up, play the game, and have fun. But if you wanted to be the best in your town, you're going to have to spend those thousands of hours to get there. And that's why this journey is so important for me to document. I want to show how difficult it is, but also show the ups and downs and how rewarding it can be. Now, on the flip side of the time issue, I spent about 3 to 4 hours researching, documenting, and practicing Bowser's moves. Then I had a 4-hour training session the next day. Also, I could learn the fundamentals of Bowser. After all that, I realized that Bowser was probably not for me, at least at this time. Now, was that time wasted that I was training? No, not at all. In fact, I noticed improvement with Cloud. And why is that? Because I had taken a little bit of Bowser's strategy and applied it to Cloud. I learned a bit more patience and the value of defensive play. Now, I definitely can't say I've wholly adopted that. Patience is one of my biggest issues, but I'm working on it. And in the beginning, I think there is a very much so a gung-ho Russian style of play that beginners just naturally adopt. But it's breaking these habits and overcoming the rush to win and changing that to a rush to gain knowledge, to gain confidence, that will help me win in the long run and make for a truly competitive esport player. I have a lot more to talk about after this event, but like I said, I'm trying to keep it short. So I'll do a follow-up video in a few days. You can follow my journey at beyondbetapodcast.com for more detailed analysis. And thanks for watching.